Alright. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
And welcome to the GamerCast Network Video Game Show, episode number 34 for Friday, April 20th, 2007. I'm Chad, and this week for the roll call, when I say your name, tell me the game that you were most ridiculed for playing. And joining me this evening is Keith.
I would have to say Pokemon because I was playing it in college and was mocked to no end for that one. Even though I liked it, people would just be like, dude, that's Pokemon.
Ivan.
Several people ridiculed me, even though it isn't a bad game, was Final Fantasy VIII. I remember going over Chris's house one day, him asking what I was playing, and I told him Final Fantasy VIII, and of course everyone knows Chris hates Final Fantasy, the reading and all that stuff. He went into his little tirade about how Final Fantasy games suck.
Thanks, Ivan. You just took my answer. Damn it. Okay, also joining us this evening is Phil.
I still get ridiculed for playing World of Warcraft.
By whom?
Yeah, I was about to say, who
By
ridicules
people at work.
Those are people that are living repressed there because you know what? Today's day and age, your video games aren't just for kids.
They're not. And you know what? Anytime I tell somebody, I'm into video games and they aren't, and they kind of look at it as, how old are you? My favorite stat that I tell those people is the video game industry generates more money per year than the movie industry does. So it is a huge industry and it is not just for kids.
All the kids it was for are now adults.
Yeah.
And we just never stopped gaming.
Well, thanks for making me feel better, Ivan. I appreciate it.
We just went against everything we stand for. We helped build him up there. We're supposed to tear down.
Bob.
I beat Alex Kidd on the Sega Genesis. I took some heat for that. I don't think anybody else actually played that game.
I don't even know what that game is.
It was pretty dorky. Yeah, Alex Kidd or Turtle Odyssey 2.
Not even Turtle Odyssey. Turtle Odyssey 2.
It sucked, but it had such a funny name.
Well, since Ivan took my answer of Final Fantasy VIII, I'll have to one-up him and say Final Fantasy IX.
Okay. I increment your answer.
I had one to your answer and I win.
And in GamerCast Network community news, be sure to check out Uncle Gamer Radio episode number 27, where they talk about some media blaming video games for the Virginia Tech shootings. Also, go check out Podtacular episode number 101, where they cover the new Halo 2 maps. And be sure to check out Gamertag Radio episode number 96, where they get an exclusive interview with Midway about the upcoming Xbox 360 title Hour of Victory.
Next topic.
Apparently, a cracker from an cracker or hacker, not a cracker, from an
Some cracker went and broke Steam.
Crazy ass cracker.
Or maybe it was actual Mr. Cracker that decided to hack it. Not only am I here to turn the company around, I also hack Steam. You should be using the complete proper English.
Excuse me. Yes, I'm a cracker, yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yes. I'm a cracker, yeah.
Okay. So, a cracker from an anti-Valve website. A lot of people out there don't like Valve.
Microsoft?
It was Palladino!
It was Palladino. He still has his coding skills.
He apparently put on his website that he had got access to Valve financial information, credit card information, and screenshots of internal Valve sites. Apparently, he claims he was able to hack the Steam client in which he was able to get access to the internal information. Now, from Doug Lombardi from Valve, who is a marketing guy, there was no security breach of Steam. The hacker actually gained access to a piece of software that Valve gives their internet cafes that want to do Counter-Strike in their own cafes and that kind of stuff. So apparently the cracker cracked that, according to the guy from Valve.
All right, so they're saying that Valve itself wasn't hacked for credit card info. It was the cyber cafes that were. I mean, that's still not good. That's just like saying, well, I didn't lose your info. The guy I gave the info to lost it. Or the guy that uses the info or manages it or whatever lost it. So it's still not good, but when you buy Steam games, though...
I was going to say, one of the things is when I've purchased several games over Steam. I haven't purchased them, but I got codes.
Yes.
And I would put the codes in and do that. You can purchase over Steam, But apparently you have to enter your credit card information each time. So I don't know if Steam actually maintains the credit card info, whereas the Cyber Cafe program probably does for subscription purposes or something like that. I'm not sure. I haven't actually played with. I haven't been to an internet cafe that uses the client. So
you've been to an internet cafe?
There aren't any internet cafes in Cleveland that I know of.
Oh yeah, that's why I was kind of like, have you been?
No,
to one?
We're not like the Koreans or the Asians who have hardcore internet cafes where there's shootings and knifings and that kind of stuff.
Better get off the computer. I'm going to stab you.
I heard from a Korean guy today that the weapon of choice in South Korea, because firearms have been so reined in, is the kitchen knife.
Sweet.
Anytime somebody is killed, it's usually with a kitchen knife.
If you watch any kind of triad films, they usually roll with machetes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't have guns.
See, and I thought that was just for martial arts purposes.
No, they really don't have them.
So really, all Asians really do know Kung Fu.
Even if you're a master of Kung Fu, I think if you were allowed to carry, a 9mm Glock, wouldn't you do that anyway? I could either get really winded by fighting you hand to hand, or I could just pull out my gun and shoot you.
All right, so the moral of the story is Asians are crazy and Steam got hacked.
Next topic.
The World of Warcraft trading card game received its next expansion pack, and with the expansion pack comes loot cards for wonderful in-game content. Here are your great 3 new pieces of loot you can get for World of Warcraft. One is the card called Rest and Relaxation. If you get it, you get a picnic set with hibachi, blanket, and umbrella. And when you click on the grill, you get what's called a grilled picnic treat, which, when you eat it, you get a buff that says, does nothing and tastes great.
That's worth it. That's worth it.
The second loot item in the game is now King Mukla, which is a pet monkey named Bananas.
All right, he's actually kind of cute.
And finally, you get something called fortune telling, and when you redeem this loot card, you get an imp flying ball, which you ask questions to, and it whispers you an answer.
Like a magic 8-ball, except an imp.
Yeah. And, of course, I'm sure people are going to complain that, well, I can't get this item unless I spend $700 more, and they're just useless.
I think Upper Deck here, who produces the thing, caved a little, because Eli said that there's a lot more of these loot cards this time around. A guy bought a couple boxes and opened them right there, and he pulled all 3 loot cards, which did not happen with the first set.
I was just curious, what the going rate for, say, a
pet monkey is.
Yeah, a turtle mount or something.
Let's look on eBay.
Yeah, turtle mount 129, turtle mount 125.
King Mukla unscratched pet, buy it now for $65.
Okay, so there has to be a significant more amount. But I mean, you know what? I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because the whole draw of it was for the people that really played Warcraft. Throw them a bone and give them more loot. It doesn't do anything, so I mean, what difference does it make?
It's built right into the card. Tastes great, does nothing.
Next topic.
So, the good people over at Game Informer magazine compiled the list of the video game top-selling properties, series and whatnot. We have a top 20 list here. What do you think, of all time, number of units of games, number 1 selling video game property is worldwide?
It's either Mario or Donkey Kong.
I say Pokemon.
I'll go computer and say Diablo 2. That one's for you, Tom.
And Phil, would you like to throw in here and have a guess?
Say either Mario or Madden. I'd say Mario, though.
I believe Bob and Phil would be correct. The number 1 selling one is Mario, of 193 million units of games sold all time.
Now, is that including all Mario games?
Oh, I'm assuming anything that begins with the word Mario. That's why I picked it.
I thought we were looking for a specific game. Then, yeah, Diablo would be a horrible, horrible choice. Here's your 2 games. Good luck.
Number 1 is Mario. Number 2 is Pokemon. Number 3 is Final Fantasy. Number 4 is Madden. Number 5 is Grand Theft Auto. 6 is The Sims. Don't forget The Sims. Number 7 is Zelda. Number 8 is Donkey Kong. 9 is Sonic. And 10 is Gran Turismo. And the rest of the list is basically Tekken, Tomb Raider, James Bond. But one I found kind of weird is Lineage is on here. That Korean MMO.
There you go. He answered your own question.
Korean, yeah.
But there's no other MMOs on here besides Final Fantasy, which is an MMO. Lineage here is above Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest is like the number 1 selling title in Japan.
Yeah, Dragon Quest had 40 million units sold. Lineage had 43 million units sold.
Wow. That's a lot of Koreans. And that's just a Korean game, isn't it?
You can get it here.
You're doubting the might of Koreans.
Yeah, dude. Their ability to grind is unsurpassed.
The top 10 best-selling games of all time, and I believe this is for the United States only. What do you think is the number 1 best-selling game of all time?
All right. I'm going to say Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay. Bob?
Madden 2000 Star. I'm not sure which one. It's one of those.
Okay. Phil?
I was originally going to say like Super Mario 2.
Okay. And Ivan?
I'm going to say Pac-Man.
And the number one selling game of all time is Super Mario Brothers 3 for the Nintendo.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, baby. You know why I thought of that? Because it was in the Wizard.
So is the
Valid.
Power Glove, dude. That's not...
Okay, rounding the top out here is number 2 is The Sims. Number 3 is Diablo 2. 4 is Super Mario Land. Then you got some Grand Theft Autos, Super Mario 64, Gran Turismos, and then another Grand Theft Auto.
No Maddens?
No Maddens.
Huh. I'm shocked.
That's probably because any single year of Madden does well, but probably in the grand scheme of things is not. If you combined all of the Maddens ever made, I'm sure it would be...
Considering it's the same game anyway.
I was about to say, yeah, I only buy one copy of Madden's. I'm pretty much good to go.
That is a unique thing here. All 3 Grand Theft Auto games are on here. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
We're a violent country. What can I say? We
Because they don't give
our
us kitchen knives.
decapitation. We're allowed to carry guns here. And in Ohio, we're even allowed to hide the guns we carry.
You never know. Watch out,
Yeah.
ninjas get popped.
Honestly, as soon as that law came into effect, I stopped fighting.
See, it works, doesn't it?
Yes.
You're a lot more courteous.
But I wouldn't try, but you can't punch a bullet.
You can, it just doesn't end well.
usually wind up
It
losing.
just keeps going. And that's if you have the lightning fast reaction to punch a bullet.
Right.
Next topic.
Here's a weird Nintendo DS game coming out, and I can't imagine this one being fun, but maybe you guys will. There's a House of the Dead game coming out for the Nintendo DS.
That includes dead people, or dead things. It's got to be fun.
Mm-hmm. He's got a point.
It's going to be called Touch the Dead.
Ew.
And like House of the Dead, the gun game, it's going to be an on-rail shooter, but instead of shooting, you're going to be tapping the zombies with the stylus.
Tap, tap,
Oh,
tap.
yeah. Tap it.
Tap, tap, tap.
Tap that zombie from the backside. Your weapon is Sammy Davis Jr. He spreads his on the floor and he just starts tap dancing all around, and the zombie dies.
God.
I have such a great image right now.
It'd be
Sorry.
cool though if your on-screen thing though was a ball peen hammer. It was like tap tap tap, and it was just like a ball peen hammer to the skull. That'd be cool. I don't think it has the graphics capability for that though.
It's a 3D game.
Really? Ugh. It's probably gonna look like open ass.
3D? I was about to say that's gonna look.
Does it even have a 3D graphics engine in it? I
No.
thought the games were all 2D.
Well, I think it's a 2D graphics card technically, but they have through some sort of software figured out
it's
how
like
to
Doom.
Oh
God,
yeah,
that's awful.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the Tony Hawk game is 3D, and it supposedly is done very well for the DS. Well, yes, the House of the Dead one doesn't look that good. But the thing is, I don't see it being really fun to, even if it's tapping zombies to death with the stylus.
No, and you also know that people are going to ruin their DS screen.
Yeah, no kidding.
They're going to just poke the holy hell out of it, like stabbing it. The Koreans are going to use their kitchen knives instead of their stylus.
Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, well, you know what? Again, this is one of those things where I'm giving them credit for trying something, but
We'll see.
I really don't think it's going to work.
Maybe it'll
So
rock.
Next topic.
I was just going to talk about the Sony lineup for the PlayStation 3 coming up for the next second quarter of this year. And if you look at the titles coming out for the PlayStation 3, you have Fear, Spider-Man 3, Ninja Gaiden, Major League Baseball 07, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Darkness, The Bigs, and Transformers. Not a real lot of show-stopping titles there, apart from Ninja Gaiden, maybe.
the Spider-Man games, those were good games. Like Spider-Man 2 was a very fun game. And, of course, Ninja Gaiden is fun. But beyond that,
What the hell is the darkness?
The Darkness is based on a comic book, and it's a first-person shooter game, but it's going to be coming out to Xbox 360, I believe, as well. And it looks pretty good. Your character is infused with demonic powers, and you can raise devils and imps, and you use those to kill people.
Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Ones they've been promising, like Lair, Ratchet and Clank, those are still pretty much a ways off.
Yeah.
Lair is the only one I got to say that I really look at for the PlayStation 3 and go, okay, that looks cool. But I'm also a fantasy buff, and I like dragons.
The other thing here is they talked about some PSP titles. They're bringing back more remakes of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the PSP.
Of course they
Of course they are. And but they're also bringing Vegas to the PSP. How could you play Vegas on the PSP?
How the hell would you play Vegas on a PS?
I mean, they have the SOCOM game for the PSP. I imagine it's going to be like that, like a third person run around and shoot things somehow, not the true Vegas style.
Dude, I don't know how you can play anything on the PSP. I'm surprised they're still creating games for it, to tell you the honest to God truth. I don't know anybody who still owns a PSP,
I do.
in their right mind at least.
I'm not in my right mind.
No.
I was going to say no, too.
Anyone who volunteers to
I
edit
don't
the
have to
show
go
by
there.
himself, not in his right mind. Sorry, brother.
At least it's good to see that Joust is on the list, because I'm glad that they just won't let that game die.
Yeah, on the PS3 network, they're bringing Joust, Gauntlet 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Rampage.
Rampage, yeah. World Tour, baby. What?
Super Puzzle Fighter. That Chris loved that game, but
Super
he
Puzzle
did.
Fighter 2 HD Remix, thank you.
Shrek the Third.
That's for the PlayStation 2.
No, that's for every system. It's Shrek. Come on. I think that's coming out for the
yeah,
Atari
sure.
2600 as well. But the thing is they actually sell a lot of those games. You can't knock the companies for doing it, and obviously someone is enjoying it because someone's buying it. Unless you just have some really like Eeyores out there just buying things that he hates. This game sucks, so I'm gonna buy it.
Next topic.
So we know coming up here pretty soon in the America is going to be the Blue Dragon game.
I'm actually looking forward to that one. When you think of like the classic role-playing game from like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo, this is supposed to be up that alley.
Mm-hmm. And actually, when it came out, it actually spiked the sales of the 360s for a little while over in Japan. But recently, they just got some brand new downloadable content, a random dungeon generator for only 300 points.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty
That
cool.
would probably drive sales.
I like things with random dungeons because it doesn't.
I'm sorry, I nodded off for a second. What are we talking about? I heard random dungeon generator and kind of snapped out of it.
See, random dungeon generator.
I love random dungeon generators.
Actually, I know all the buzzwords for Bob. You can make your own dungeon.
Damn.
Why the love for random dungeons, if might I ask?
Because that means the game doesn't stop.
Exactly.
My most horrible thing that I cannot stand about like RPGs in general is that you put all this effort into leveling up your guy, you get all tough, you finally get him where he wants, and then like you win. And it's like, I don't want to win. I finally got where my guy's fun to play. I want to keep going.
The random dungeons just seem like they just add more monsters in. There really wouldn't be any quests, maybe, just to walk around and beat
That's
stuff.
perfectly fine.
Okay.
It depends, because sometimes they do, like, they had a expansion out for Neverwinter Nights, the original one, where it was a random dungeon generator, and they had quests in there, too. Another month of game time until you finally get bored of it and want to stop and play something else.
The big thing, and as if most people will probably already know within our group, if the game is cool and we can play together, that's most of the entertainment. Give us an endless supply of things to kill, and we'll pretty much entertain ourselves.
Yeah, that's
Endless
pretty much all it
supply of
takes.
monsters to beat up on. And it helps as you're killing them, they drop unique items or something.
Yes.
That's all
Right.
better. But you know what? It's such an easy thing. Why maybe random dungeons isn't, but just replaying and having like creatures drop different things every time seems like such an easy thing. I don't know why. Like Baldur's Gate, perfect example. Why couldn't they make it so that you could play through it a bunch of times and it'd be a little bit different every time?
In some defense of Baldur's Gate 2, that game was pretty freaking massive.
Right, but even if it's massive, have the creatures not drop the same thing every time.
Okay, I see
We
what you're
played
saying. Yeah, yeah.
Diablo, and the quests were always the same, but the fun of it was just doing the required
And the
quests.
supply of monsters,
Right, to
drop.
move on and just beat up the endless supply of monsters.
Yeah, one game that did that really well were those action RPG, the Baldur's Gate one and the Champions of EverQuest.
Norath.
Norath, Champions of Norath.
That's one of the games I actually saved for my PlayStation 2 was Champions
too.
of Norath. All the loot was random, and just like in Diablo, you could, when you got to a certain point, you would just up the difficulty. And you'd fight tougher monsters that drop better loot. Like we've always said, it doesn't take much to make us happy with a video game, but people seem to not do the stuff that we like.
Yeah, why don't people tailor their games to our needs, damn it?
Because we've proven multiple times that we know exactly what gamers want.
That's right. We're never wrong.
Next topic.
Okay, so there's a game coming out from some French developers called The Crossing, and they're going to have a really unique play style. It's a first-person shooter. It sounds like it's not fantasy. It's like an alternate reality where World War I never happened. The Knights Templars are still around, that kind of stuff. Actually, this game was made by the guys who made Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. I saw this in Games for Windows, the magazine, and I guess apparently it also was coming out for the 360 as well. The guys who developed the game were like, AI in single-player games is crap. So what we're going to do is we're going to invent this new style that crosses single-player gaming with multiplayer gaming. So as you're going through the story in single-player mode, the NPCs around you will actually be filled with living human beings.
Filled with living human organs.
So healthy and full of organs.
That's interesting.
They call the main players the elites, and the other guys, the people try to kill you, called the skirmishers. You go into a level, and everyone who wants to be a skirmisher gets queued up, and then whenever new guys come into the world, they're going to drop in, kind of like the Agent Smith in The Matrix, pop into somebody's body near you, and then they're going to take over and try and kill you. So it's not going to be all AI-controlled characters.
All right. I have one issue with this, because something like that has been tried before with Savage, and that was a very great game. But the problem with Savage is that if there weren't enough people playing the game, you couldn't do anything.
They are going to have an AI backup.
Okay, so
well, there you go. See, that would have fixed Savage's problem.
One really, really weird thing here is how they're going to make this work. They're going to make it seamless. They're going to have their own infrastructure, what it sounds like, and they're going to be able to automatically switch. So say some people are actually playing normal multiplayer with two teams fighting each other, and say some dudes want to do the crossplay thing. What they're going to be able to do is automatically turn the multiplayer game into part of this crossplay game on the fly.
Oh, okay.
It'll happen seamlessly in the background. You're going to say, go to the next level, and you're going to have to wait, and then the game's going to say, you got to wait 2 minutes for this round to end. And when the round ends, then your story can continue. So it's going to automatically, kind of on the fly, do all the network and server stuff.
Do you have campaign mode for the skirmisher?
If the skirmishers get rankings and stuff assigned to them, the thing is, the skirmishers are going to be much weaker when compared to the elites who are the real players. Say you're a really good elite killer, you get a higher ranking, and you'd be feared by the elites out there in the world.
All right, I'm not going to lie. This sounds interesting.
But the real big issue here is, can they pull it off? Can they get the whole server infrastructure working to make things...
That's why I said it sounds interesting, but we'll see if it actually is.
First of all, they actually have to see if it makes the light of day. Like if it's one of those games that just keeps getting pushed back because they're having so many problems. And
well, Duke Nukem's coming out soon, isn't it?
Oh, gosh.
Next topic.
There's a Savage 2 coming out.
Yes, there's going to be a Savage 2 coming out. I don't know when, though. Would they say when?
It said soon.
I haven't played Savage. Someone should explain what Savage is to the listeners. Go.
All right. Savage is a RTS first-person shooter.
What setting is this game set in? Is this a...
Medieval, I'm sorry.
Yeah, medieval fantasy game. They had one side which was like the humans, and then they had the other side which was like the beasts. You have the two sides. You have a commander for each side. The commander plays the game like an RTS. You have the overhead view, and you have your resources, you build the buildings. The difference is say we're all playing Savage, and Chad, you're the commander. Mm-hmm. We are the actual troops that
carry out my orders.
So you build.
Indeed.
We don't have to listen to you. We can do whatever the hell we want, but we're the ones that actually go around mining stuff and attacking the other people. You buy us upgrades and that kind of thing.
So that's the incentive to actually do what the guy's telling you to do. If you don't mind, he's not going to give you any upgrades.
The problem is there was no AI. It was strictly whoever was playing. So if there was only 6 people in the game, you would have 2 commanders and 2-on-2.
Yeah, it would. No one would ever win because there just wasn't enough people to get it done. Wasn't enough people to conquer it, to destroy buildings and stuff like that.
I guess the question here is, how is it different than the original Savage?
They have a thing of upkeep, which is how they're going to avoid the incredible long games. So you have to pay so much gold every. This says 15 seconds to maintain the stuff you've researched, otherwise you lose it.
So are they going to be adding in here some sort of AI?
That's what it sounds like.
There will be an in-depth single-player tutorial, but no story to it. So basically you can practice against stuff versus AI opponents. Anyone that's listened to the podcast for a while knows this is like a podcast favorite.
If you want to get a taste of it, you can download Savage Retail 2.0 for free. Get the full retail version of the first game.
But the thing about this game that was so sweet was the fact that it covered both genres. I'm very, very happy to see that they're making a Savage 2.
Next topic.
Yeah, so there's a Transformers video game coming out for the Transformers movie, which is being done by Michael Bay. And there are some screenshots.
It looks a lot like Armored Core. Just you have wheels on your robot.
Just drop in some whatever they're calling Transformers as the characters.
They look nothing like the original characters, but
The one thing I will say about the game is if it's like Armored Core and Chrome Hounds and those kind of games, the main thing that I really dig about it is the simple fact that you can make your own robot. I have a feeling you're not going to be able to make your own robot in the Transformer game. You're going to have to use Bumblebee or Optimus Prime or Shockwave or something like that.
Yeah, and let's talk about the giant building that Michael Bay tried to cover with a transform. There's a skyscraper that wasn't quite done, and he tried to cover it with a big, graphic thing. He said Transformers on all sides, and all the sides fell down except for one. And I looked at it and went, "Thank you. There goes my bonus."
I'm sorry, Bob.
I hope I can find a picture of
Is
it.
this for a promotional thing for it?
Yeah, it's just promotional. He likes wasting $50,000.
Now it's still what was it, 3 or 4 months away? It's coming out July 4th.
Yeah.
You know what? The thing is Bob, the movie's going to do well. We all grew up with the Transformers. I'm interested in what it's going to be. I'll probably go see it, but I'm sure it won't be stellar. It'll probably have a very good first weekend.
I got it. I found it. This is what they were trying to do. They were trying to wrap the whole building in this crap. And I guess they got this side up and another side up, but then the other side, the wind was really bad that day.
Oh,
see?
That sucks.
I love this, touting Michael Bay's latest Make Go Boom masterwork Transformers. The first comment was obviously the worst work of Megatron.
He's trying to minimize awareness of the movie so he can keep getting work. Damn you, Michael Bay.
Damn you, Michael Bay.
He's had 1 or 2 decent films. One.
What is his repertoire of films?
He made The Rock.
Pearl Harbor.
The Rock. Pearl Harbor I didn't think was a good movie. The Rock.
I didn't say it was good. I said he did it.
And the only reason why The Rock was good because it's got Sean Connery, man. You can't go wrong with Sean Connery.
He did do the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one from a couple years ago.
Okay, that one was a good movie. Had a sweaty, tight-shirted, tight pants Jessica Biel running around. And
yeah, actually, you know what? I'm looking at IMDb. He actually produced that. He didn't direct that.
Jessica Biel was really hot.
Was?
Is.
Okay. I was going to say.
Oh, she's my favorite, as far as hot celebrities go. Anywho, I had to, yeah.
So this billboard was blown down and Michael Bay's dick.
Yeah. We're done now with Transformers, aren't we?
Please let us be done with Transformers. Please.
Next topic.
Back to a story here real quick concerning Dungeons and Dragons and all things RPG, pen and paper. The magazines, Dragon and Dungeon, which I believe are 2 separate magazines.
Dungeon was my personal favorite because that came with more maps.
One of them was an adventure
Dungeon was the one that came with all the adventures.
And that's Dragon was just like the D&D supplement thing.
Wizards of the Coast, a long time ago, when they acquired the D&D stuff, they kept maintaining the publishers producing that magazine. And I guess in the age of the internet and all things online, you can blame it for killing those magazines because they are going to cease production of the magazines coming this September.
But that's really not that rare because even the other one, I was a White Dwarf guy. Also a White Dwarf from Warhammer 40,000, and they're going that route too. They had Black Goblin, that was their internet thing, and the Black Goblin was doing better than the White Dwarf. So,
we're such dorks.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I just really reveled in my dorkdom there, didn't I?
You were saying it like it was all so nonchalant, and I was like, we talking dwarfs or magazines? I was,
Well, the sick thing is I'm sitting here going, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. Black Dwarf.
We're such geeks.
Oh, no.
No, but I'm not as much of a geek as you guys.
I'm sorry, hold on. Who's the guy who buys World of Warcraft cards just to collect them?
Yeah, so.
He's got a point.
Yeah.
The other thing is I'm allowed to be a dork because, honestly, who the f***'s going to tell me I'm a dork?
I wouldn't.
I'll break them.
Yes, that's why I wouldn't.
Yes, I'm a dork, but your spine has been cracked.
At least my face isn't bleeding. What?
But then again, they may have a gun, so I probably wouldn't do that. Wait.
It'd be funny for at least 10 seconds until the shooting began.
I was going to say, even though I didn't do a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I did play this one, Hero Quest.
Oh, yes, I own that one too.
Oh, yeah, we've done our share.
Yeah, was Hero Quest based off of, as part of the Warhammer?
That's Warhammer, yeah. That's part of the Warhammer universe.
This is an awesome game, by the way.
Yeah, it's an incredibly awesome game.
And the thing is, this does tie into video games because someone made a version of it for the PC. I don't think it's multiplayer, it's all single player, but it's out there somewhere.
Next topic.
One last PC game for the kids out there. A new one coming out from our Polish friends from CD Projekt. This is a Polish dev studio that has done previous localization work for games like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and Diablo. They thought that, hey, we know role-playing games, let's go make our own role-playing game. So they decided to make a fantasy action role-playing game called The Witcher. In the game, it's an open-ended style gameplay. It's like, not like Diablo, click, 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 attack, attack, attack. It's more like kind of like a WoW, but a single-player World of Warcraft kind of thing, where you walk around.
Oh, God. Sounds thrilling.
You play the main character, Geralt, who is a professional monster killer, which is also known as a Witcher, and he can
That's convenient. It's a good thing you're not like a carpenter. This would be a really hard game.
I am a potter.
Here's a shotgun. Wait, I just said, all right.
So, in the ace, you can get drunk, you can get sober up then with a potion, you can align with people, cast spells, and you can bed the ladies.
Dude, this sounds like my college life. You can get drunk, never cast spells, but I would fight and bed the ladies. So in my case, we should probably lose the plural on that.
So there was an interview with the Polish developers who were talking about the mature content in the game. This was with a guy who was walking along in the game. In the game, you can pick up girls. I'm going to show you where to find one so you can go to bed with her. So they went and found a milkmaid. They gave her some flowers, and they had some off-screen sex.
Because that's how it works in real life.
Yes.
Flowers! Give me some love,
flowers.
And after the sex, the player was given a playing card with a picture of the milkmaid topless with a ladle of milk being poured over her bare breasts.
You can tell this is European. Look, I poured some milk on my boobies.
Should be more get drunk, align with people, fight, leave flour on bed.
And no saying be back later, maybe.
Stuck to the wall with a steak knife.
And that brings it all back together for Video Game Show episode number 34 for Friday, April 20th, 2007. Any ham sandwiches for people of the world?
To Michael Bay.
And Jessica Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel gets 2
conveniently placed ham sandwiches.
Yeah. And Jessica Biel, pray you never meet me. Because
dude, I pray she never meets you. Run away! Flee! Go, Jessica, run!
Well, you don't have to run that fast. I'm slow. Yeah, she can have as many ham sandwiches as she wants.
No, she gets 2.
And as always, send your feedback to the mailbag at vgs@gamercastnetwork.com, or you can call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long-distance call, and all normal fees apply. Or Skype us at Video Game Show. Okay, and good night, everyone. Say some good nights there.
Nah.
Good night.
Good night.
Dungeon Magazine basically had adventures in it and maps and things like that. Dragon Magazine was like a supplement of additional rules, new creatures you could use, tweaks to races, erratas, things like that. So Dragon was like the supplemental. Dungeon was like a book of adventures. And they had all D&D projects, not products, not just Dungeons & Dragons. They had like Spelljammer. They would have Star Frontier in there. Basically, all the TSR things were in Dungeon. It wasn't just Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons was the primary. I'm a geek.